Hello my friends, I'm Mihaela. Today's tutorial is for the beginner artists. I'll show you how to paint a colorful and somewhat cubist cat. Before I start painting, I'm going to first sketch the cat. If you do this painting on your own, I would suggest that you pause the video after I finish the sketch and use the completed image for reference. After I finish the head and the body, I am placing the other leg and the fold of the leg. Of course, this being just the sketch, later on will be covered with color. For the next step, I'm going to use the ruler. That will help me to trace a straight line. Of course, this is optional and we can draw the line without using the ruler. And that's what I'm doing here. I am continuing with drawing the squares without any ruler. Of course, the lines, they're not going to be very straight, but this is not the most important thing. What we're going to focus here is to create diversity in shapes and form of the squares, rather than being a contest of straight lines. I am dividing the head in little squares, and I'm going to do the same thing for the tail, and I will add one more layer. I am sketching the eyes, and afterwards I'm ready to move to the next step, which is painting. For this, I'm going to use black straight from the tube and a small fine detail brush, because I'm gonna work on small areas, and this brush will give me more control. Now with black, I'm going to start with the ears and some random squares on the head. I'm going to pay attention here, of course, to the edges, and for this I'm going to first do the outline, and then I will fill the inside of each square. As I am painting, I have in my mind that later on I'm going to use other colors to fill the rest of the squares. So that's why I am selecting the squares that I want to be black and the one that I want to have different colors. And here I'm using a rule. Usually the squares that are closer to the edge, I want to have darker colors, and the ones that are inside, I want to be brighter. So that's why here at the tail, I'm going to use black. Like this, I'm going to have the maximum contrast in between black and white. After I finish the tail, I'm going to move on and finish all the other squares using the same color, black. And I'm using the same technique that I did before. I'm filling each square with solid black directly from the tube. Here, for example, I'm going to change things a little bit and I'm going to paint a part of a circle. Now it's time to change the color, and I'm using here a dusty rose. In order to get this color, I mixed red, white, and black. Of course, not too much black because we don't want a very dark color. And here, I want to tell you that before we change the color and we move on to the next stage of the painting, it's very important to wash the brush very, very well. If we don't do that, then some black will still be left into the brush. That's why we have to make very sure that we wash the brush really well, and after we wash it, we could use a paper towel and make sure that all the color residue is gone and we have a perfectly clean brush when we move on to the next step. After I finish painting everything with the dusty rose, I move on to the next color. This time I'm using a light cream. In order to get this color, I mix yellow, white, and just a little amount of red. And with this color, I fill more areas. As you can see, this color is lighter in color than black that we used before, or even lighter than the rose. Here I'm drawing another circle and I'm painting the outer edge of it. And I will continue to add a few more areas with this color. We have to pay attention on the squares, the one that we draw to begin with. Now, if it happened that we cannot stay inside the lines, that is not a huge problem, because later on, as we fill in the other squares, then we will have the chance of fixing the edge. Now, one more thing, I am calling it squares, but they're not literal squares. While some of them are rectangles or triangles, or some of them have irregular shapes, I'm naming them squares because it's easy to make a reference. You got this. It's time to change the color again, and now I've chose a light gray. In order to get a gray, you mix black and white. But here, besides black and white, I added just a little drop of the cream that I used before. And like this, I got a warmer gray. And with this, I'm filling different areas that are still left undone. For my brightest color, I've chosen a mix of yellow and white, and I'm applying it around the eyes and on the forehead. And then I move on for the body. I'm filling different areas that I feel that will look good with this bright and luminous color. I'm adding a semicircle here. And I finish with this small little area here. For my final color, I chose a bright pink. In order to get this, I mix red and white. And this will add a little bit of vibrancy to the painting that I already did. Now, very quickly, I want to say something. These are the colors that I chose to use. If you want to, you can use the exact same colors. But if you want, you can use your own personal colors. You can create different colors. You can use pure colors. You can mix and get different tones than the ones that I used here. Now, a quick advice. if you're trying to use something else, it's better to use a family of colors. And what I mean by that is to use the colors in the same range. For example, if you want, you can use blues, so you can create different tones of the same color. Or you can use only warm colors, such I used here. Creating a connection in between color will make the entire painting look better. For my final touch-ups, I will fill the inside part of the eye with the gray that I used before. And with black, I'm going to fill the remaining areas that are left undone, such as here where I have a triangle. And the tail, of course, one more part. And lastly, I'm drawing the eyes and the mustache. And this is my final painting. I hope you enjoy it. See you next time with another tutorial. Bye bye!